Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take that fire hose of information you shared with us, all the articles, research, and notes, and we filter it down into the clearest, most practical knowledge we can find, all tailor-made for you. Today, we're shifting our focus completely. We aren't diving into financial markets or emerging tech.
No, something much more fundamental.
Exactly. We are tackling a foundational skill for modern life. Confident, effortless communication in English. This deep dive is really designed for you, the learner, who wants, practical, immediate tools for real-world fluency, but without all the stress of perfection. Our mission today is explicitly practical. We're calling it a Test Your Vocabulary Simple English for Real Life edition.
I like that.
Yeah, we're going to focus entirely on those quick, high-frequency interactions, the moments at work, navigating travel, running errands.
Or just a quick chat with a neighbor.
Right. We're hunting for the simple, useful expressions that just work instantly. And this focus on practical, high-impact English, it's a core specialty of our channel, and it's part of the broader work we do in partnership with Fluent Mindcast. The whole goal is just to streamline your learning, to give you these knowledge shortcuts that get you speaking confidently, naturally, and bypassing all that usual anxiety.
That's the critical distinction, isn't it? We really want to guide you away from those overly complicated learner sentences. I mean, the phrases that are grammatically sound, sure, but they sound wooden or just take way too long to say.
Yeah, you can feel the listener's attention start to drift.
Exactly. So we want to move you toward those efficient, native-like shortcuts, the tools that keep a conversation flowing. For us today, the focus is all on function over that chase for perfect textbook grammar.
So how are we going to do that? How will this work?
Okay, so here's how we'll structure this. First, we'll set up a common real-life scenario. Then we'll give you a sentence an English learner might use, one that's technically correct, but inefficient.
And when you hear that inefficient phrase, that's your cue.
That's your cue. We want you to challenge yourself right there, either mentally or even out loud. Try to guess the natural, faster, or just more efficient alternative that a native speaker would probably use. You can think of this whole deep dive as a sort of gentle vocabulary challenge. We're going to move at a calm, slow pace. We've built in gentle pauses to give you time to think. We'll guide you step by step through how to sound clear, confident, and most importantly, truly natural.
I love that setup. It gives you, the listener, immediate application for what we're discussing. Okay, let's unpack this with our first major section, which gets to the foundational principle.
Yeah.
The very core of conversational success. When people first start learning a new language, there's often this intense internal pressure to demonstrate how much they know.
Oh, absolutely. To prove their competence.
Right. And this usually translates into using complex structures, long sentences, maybe the biggest vocabulary words they know. It's an understandable instinct, You want to show that all your hard work is paying off.
It is entirely understandable, but it's often counterproductive to real fluency. What the research and the linguistic studies we reviewed show again and again is this beautiful, simplifying insight.
And what's that?
That the most successful conversations, the ones that flow without stress, they rely overwhelmingly on the shortest, most direct lines available. The key insight here is foundational. Native speakers communicate successfully and comfortably with just the basics. I mean, they aren't constantly thinking about complex grammar or perfect tense agreement.
No, of course not.
They're relying on short, direct lines that fit naturally, almost unconsciously, into real-life situations. The goal isn't perfect grammar. It's achieving communication that prevents stress and keeps the conversation alive.
That's so counterintuitive to what many learners are taught, isn't it? They feel this pressure to use long words and complex sentences to sound, educated or fluent. So what's the specific mistake they're making?
The mistake is a mismatch of register. It's like using a $5 word for a 10-cent transaction. It creates friction. When you use these long, complicated structures, you force the listener's brain to work harder.
And your own brain, too.
And your own brain. You force yourself into this high-stress translation mode. Simple language reduces that cognitive load for everyone. It makes the interaction feel effortless, which, that's the hallmark of real fluency.
Exactly. Okay, let's jump into our first challenge and test this theory right now. We'll focus on two of the most anxiety-inducing situations for a new speaker. Dealing with uncertainty and needing a little more time. So imagine this very common scenario. You're on the phone, or maybe you're sitting across from a supervisor or a client.
Right. A bit of pressure.
A bit of pressure. And you're asked a direct question, maybe about a deadline, a schedule, some specific data, but you can't answer it immediately. You need a moment to check a file, look something
Here,
up.
just gather your thoughts.
Exactly. So, feeling that pressure to be professional, an English learner might build this very formal, very descriptive sentence. For example, they might say, I am not able to confirm the required data at this present moment.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that phrase is technically correct. It gets the job done.
Yeah.
But it is so formal, so cumbersome, and way too long for like 99% of interactions. You risk sounding like a robot reading a legal disclaimer.
Not like a human being having a conversation.
Right. So here is the challenge for you listening. We are looking for two things. First, the simple, short, natural way to express uncertainty. And second, the short, polite way to ask for just a second or two. We'll pause here and let you think about it. Gentle, slow pause for 8 seconds.
Did you land on something short and direct? What's so fascinating here, and the linguistic studies show this, is the immense power of these simple, short lines to handle really complex social situations.
So what's the answer for uncertainty?
For expressing simple, direct uncertainty, the phrase that carries the most social weight and clarity is just 3 words. I'm not sure.
That's it.
That's it. I encourage you to repeat that out loud, focusing on the natural rhythm. I'm not sure. It's quick, it's instantly clear, and crucially, it manages the other person's expectations perfectly without any unnecessary stress.
And this is where that cognitive insight comes in. By using I'm not sure, you immediately reduce the cognitive load on your own brain. Instead of struggling to find synonyms for unable to confirm, you free your mind to focus on the solution.
Precisely. You can focus on finding the answer rather than perfecting the apology for not knowing it. That is the core of real fluency, maximizing mental efficiency. So, what about the request for time? You don't need to say, I require a temporary period of time to review my notes.
No, that's agonizingly long. You just need a phrase that signals a brief, polite pause in the conversation. And that phrase is, just a moment. Try repeating that as well. Just a moment.
And there are variations on this, of course. They're all common and effective. You might hear 1 second or maybe hold on a minute. They all signal a temporary pause. But just a moment is universally understood as polite and brief. We found this fascinating case study that showed customer service interactions improved dramatically when agents replaced all that elaborate stalling with this simple 2-word phrase.
Why is that?
Because it builds trust through directness. These simple expressions have what our sources call big power. They act as conversational stabilizers. They prevent stress for both of you. So the takeaway here is starting simple is not just okay. It is the gold standard. Speaking of keeping conversations flowing, let's move into what I believe is the single most important tool for any language learner, period.
Yeah, I'm listening.
The ability to ask a good question. We often feel this pressure to deliver information perfectly, but actually asking clear, concise questions is the easiest conversational tool there is, especially when your confidence is still building.
That is such a crucial shift in perspective. If you're struggling to say something, just ask a question instead. It's a great point. It instantly shifts the focus and the linguistic pressure away from you and onto the other person. It's a kind of conversational defense mechanism.
And it works brilliantly.
All right, let's set up another challenge. This is one that happens constantly in daily life. You're in a new environment, a meeting, a lab, a big office, maybe just trying to use a self-checkout machine.
Right. And you need direction or an explanation right now.
Exactly. You see a piece of equipment or a sign you don't recognize. Now, a learner aiming for, accuracy and politeness might use a sentence that's way too complex, like, could you please elaborate on the function of that apparatus?
The apparatus. Very scientific.
Very. So, again, we need efficiency. We need to get to the point instantly. How do you ask about the object, the direction, or the process using the shortest, clearest English possible? What are those simple, direct questions? Pause and think about it for a second. Gentle, slow pause for 8 seconds.
We always have to focus on immediate, practical questions, minimal effort for both people. You definitely don't need to elaborate on the elaboration of the function of the apparatus. You just need to know what it is, where to go, or how it works. So, for example, if you see an unfamiliar object, what's that? Go ahead and try saying that with a genuinely curious rising tone. What's that?
And notice how even what is that often gets shortened to what's that in real speech. That shortening is a feature of casualness and efficiency. It's a native shortcut. And just recognizing it improves your conversational understanding.
Right. And if you need physical direction, simple is always better. Where do I go? You do not need to ask, to what location should I proceed?
Please don't. And if you need to understand how something works, a machine or a system, how does this work? That 3-word question covers mechanics, processes, steps, Everything. It's perfect. We looked at internal training manuals from several large companies, and they consistently trained staff to recognize and respond to these short, functional questions. The research shows these short lines aren't just enough, they're optimal. They're direct, they demand an answer, and they show you're engaged without getting tangled up.
Okay, now this next challenge tackles what is maybe the single most crucial skill when you're in a fast-paced English environment.
I think I know where you're going with this.
It's when you miss what someone said. Maybe they spoke too quickly or there was a lot of background noise. You absolutely need them to repeat it, but you don't want to sound demanding or rude.
Right.
So the phrases we want to avoid are the ones that feel too direct, too accusatory, like, I did not hear what you said, please say it again. It's clear, but the tone is just. It can feel impolite in many contexts.
It's very transactional. So how can you use a simple short phrase that's universally understood as polite and gets the speaker to repeat, or maybe even better, simplify what they said? Take a moment to guess the phrase. Gentle, slow pause for 8 seconds. The simple, polite solution, and the research suggests this works like magic, is integrating a subtle apology or a softening phrase into your request. This is so critical in English social dynamics.
It really is.
The absolute gold standard, the phrase that's perfectly polite and clear in almost any setting is, sorry, could you repeat that? Again, try saying that out loud with a soft, genuinely curious inflection. Sorry, could you repeat that? The sorry acts as a conversational cushion.
And we can get even shorter than that. If you want the ultimate conversational door opener, a phrase with just 2 words, you have to rely entirely on your vocal tone. And that phrase is, excuse me.
Ah, yes, a classic.
It's a perfect example of how tone matters so much more than the literal words. If you say, excuse me, with a frustrated or loud tone, it can sound aggressive.
Challenging, even.
Exactly. But if you use a soft, slightly questioning upward tone, a tone that signals confusion and politeness, it can open almost any door. It invites the speaker to help you, and often they'll automatically simplify their language without you even asking. It's a highly efficient move.
So you're using less English to get a better result. That simple phrase, delivered right, basically says, I missed it, but I value what you were saying, so please try again. It's pure linguistic efficiency.
Let's transition now to a skill that is truly universal and absolutely critical for daily life, no matter where you are, ordering food. Whether you're grabbing a coffee, buying lunch, or at a restaurant, the core message here is that this should never feel complicated or stressful.
That's a great point. If you can master the structure for ordering food, you pretty much unlock every simple retail transaction, buying a train ticket, requesting a receipt, all of it. These moments are so repetitive.
They are. And once you master the key phrases, you build real-world confidence incredibly quickly because you know what's coming.
Okay, the scenario. You're at a coffee shop counter, or maybe talking to a server, and you need to ask for one specific item. Let's say a black coffee.
Simple enough.
A learner, worried about being polite and accurate, might put together this really formal phrase. I would like to receive one black coffee, if that is possible.
If that is possible, it sounds like you're asking for a huge favor.
It sounds like you're requesting permission from a government agency. So what is the universal efficient structure that works instantly in almost every English-speaking setting, from a gourmet cafe to a food truck? Think about that simple, functional sentence structure. Gentle, slow pause for 8 seconds.
The universal phrase, the absolute champion of requesting things, relies on what we call a modal verb, specifically can. And it's structured not as a desire, but as an ability. We replace, I would like to receive, with.
Can I get?
That's it. Can I get a black coffee? Go ahead and try repeating that, focusing on how easy it is to say, can I get a black coffee?
And this request structure is so common. The research we reviewed noted it works almost everywhere. It is the language of transaction. It signals to the person serving you, I'm ready to order now.
And just to clarify for the learner, this simple request structure, can I get, uses the modal verb can. It signals a polite inquiry about capability. You're essentially asking, are you able to provide this, which is much softer than give me a coffee.
And far more efficient than I desire a coffee.
Oh, yes.
Now, we have to layer on the crucial cultural rule for politeness. While can I get is functional, you almost always have to pair it with a polite word to leave a good impression. So the finalized, polished phrase is, can I get a black coffee, please?
And let's deepen this. What happens when the server asks a follow-up question like what size or any cream?
All right.
This is where simple words are your best friend.
Right.
You can just reply with a simple adjective and that magic word, lard, please. Or if you need to say no, the simplest way works. No, just plain thank you. You don't need to say, I desire for the beverage to remain in its unadulterated form.
Huh. No, please don't. And this leads right into some important cultural context our sources highlighted. Many English-speaking countries, especially the US and UK, value politeness in service interactions very highly.
Yes, very much so.
The sources mention the common practice of servers introducing themselves by name, "Hi, I'm Sarah," to personalize the interaction. You have to match that level of politeness. Mastering the basics like, "Can I get, please?" ensures you do just that. Moving on now, let's tackle the grease of conversation. The informal connectors and native shortcuts. These are the short expressions that instantly make your communication smoother and more natural.
That's a great way to put it. They are essential social cues. These are the phrases that link ideas or respond to minor social moments without needing a whole grammatically complex explanation.
Okay, let's look at a scenario where someone offers a suggestion. How about we meet at 3? Or maybe they apologize for a minor inconvenience, like bumping into you in line. You need a short, friendly response that signals everything is okay or that the suggestion is accepted. A clunky or overly structured response might be, "That idea seems acceptable to me." Or, for the apology, "Do not concern yourself with this minor issue."
Very formal.
Too much effort, too much formality. So we need 3 common, essential shortcuts. One for enthusiastic agreement, one for simple confirmation, and one for dismissing an apology with friendliness. Take a moment to guess what those easy, friendly responses might be. Gentle, slow pause for 8 seconds.
These phrases are the social lubricants of English conversation. They just bridge gaps instantly. When you agree with a suggestion instead of that long phrase, you simply use this powerful short one. Sounds great.
Simple, love it.
When you want to confirm a plan or just signal that a situation is settled, the perfect short reply is, all good. It's a very common, fast piece of slang that just communicates no problems here.
And the absolute conversational winner for dismissing an apology used constantly is "no worries." We definitely encourage you to repeat that one, using a calm, reassuring tone. No worries.
And that phrase, no worries, is fascinating. We found a detail in the sources worth sharing. It's an example of linguistic adoption. It actually came from Australian English, originally linked to surf culture in the 80s.
No way.
Yeah, before it spread worldwide as an alternative to "you're welcome" or "it's nothing." It's a tiny example of how language travels and how a casual, friendly phrase can become universal just because of its ease and positive impact.
So using phrases like "sounds great," "all good," and "no worries" instantly makes things easier and signals that you're comfortable.
Now we have to address the single biggest hurdle for almost every English learner: understanding native speakers when they're talking at full speed.
Oh, this is a big one.
It is. Native speakers often speak quickly and shorten words or combine them without even realizing they're doing it.
So what's the strategy?
The sources stress a crucial cognitive strategy here. You cannot try to catch every single word. If you focus on perfect grammar, you will fall behind. Instead, you have to focus on catching the key ideas, the verbs, the nouns, and trust that your brain will fill in the rest.
What makes this so difficult are the informal contractions. And we aren't just talking about formal ones like "don't" or "can't," but the ones that blur multiple words into a single sound.
Right.
For instance, if a native speaker says, "I'm going to go to the store," what you will often hear is somebody go to the store. The 2 words "going to" just merge into "gonna."
And similarly, "I want to eat now" rarely comes out with distinct gaps. It often sounds like "I want to eat now." The phrase "want to" becomes "wanna."
So these aren't sloppy speech.
Not at all. They are a fundamental part of everyday casual speech in almost every English dialect. And the implication for you is powerful. Once you start recognizing these sound shortcuts, conversations become so much easier to follow, even when they're fast.
Because you're listening for the meaning, not struggling with the technical structure. You stop stressing about, did they say "going to" or "gonna?" Because you know they mean the same thing.
Exactly. You're listening for function, and that saves so much mental energy.
Let's shift our focus now to personal expression, the language that relates directly to you. Practicing these phrases makes English stick because they connect directly to your daily life, your habits, your emotional state. Hashtag 5.1, describing your daily routine simply.
The concept here is that short lines about your daily life offer the best kind of practice. It's high repetition, low stakes. You are just describing yourself, your habits, and actions you do all the time.
So the phrases are short, they're relevant, and they're easy to memorize because they actually reflect your reality. You're not learning abstract vocabulary, you're just narrating your own life.
Exactly. Simple phrases to practice could be, I work from home, I take the bus, I wake up early. Notice how direct and short they are.
And once you're comfortable with those, you can start adding small details, right? Like adverbs or simple time phrases. I take the bus early in the morning, or I work from home most days.
Right. And here's a valuable linguistic insight, especially if your first language has complex conjugations. English is surprisingly easy for describing routines because it doesn't change verb endings much in the present tense. You just use the simple base form, I work, I take, I wake.
That makes it a really simple, low-effort path to growing confidence quickly. Okay, being able to communicate how you feel is essential for building connections. But you don't need to be a poet here. The idea is that the simplest words are often the clearest and most universal.
That pressure to sound educated comes back again.
It does. A learner might try to sound formal when describing joy. I am currently experiencing a heightened level of emotional elation, which, let's be honest, sounds like a line from a sci-fi movie.
It really does.
So how can you communicate that feeling? Happiness, fatigue, stress, in the quickest, clearest way possible. Take a moment to guess the basic, essential emotional statements. Gentle, slow pause for 8 seconds.
Again, we're looking for the simplest structure possible. Usually it's the contraction I'm followed immediately by the emotion.
So things like,
The basic emotions, which communicate exactly what you mean instantly, are I'm happy, I'm tired, or I'm stressed. No elaboration needed. They're universal.
but let's add a little bit of nuance here. If you want to convey more energy or sound more informal, especially in American English, you can use more energetic expressions. Instead of just, I'm happy, you might say, I'm excited.
Right, that's a good one.
And if you are truly ready to go, full of anticipation for something, a very common, very informal American phrase is, I'm pumped. It suggests a really high energetic readiness, much more intense than just happy.
And being able to differentiate between I'm happy and I'm pumped adds this nice subtle color to your communication without adding complexity. The key connection point is that talking about emotions with these simple phrases helps you connect with people naturally and honestly. Simple sincerity always wins.
Okay, real life inevitably includes small problems. You get the wrong coffee order, maybe the bill at a restaurant is wrong. Knowing how to express these issues politely is absolutely crucial to keeping things smooth.
You want a resolution, not a confrontation.
Exactly. The phrase you have to avoid is anything demanding or too direct, like, you have made an error on this bill and it must be corrected now. That sounds like you're about to sue them.
It really does.
So, how do native English speakers soften direct complaints so the person on the other side is receptive and willing to help you? What are the gentle, non-confrontational ways to point out a mistake? Pause and reflect on a softer approach. Gentle, slow pause for 8 seconds.
The key here, and this is a huge cultural lesson in English communication, is to use phrases that shift the focus away from blaming the person. You want to focus on the possibility of a general error, almost like the error just happened by itself.
As if by magic.
As if by magic. So you can start with a gentle inquiry that removes blame. I think there's a mistake. Notice the softness of I think. It's an observation, not an accusation.
Or even better, you can turn it into a shared activity, invite them to help you. Could we check this? That inclusive we really reduces friction.
It does. And if you want to express your doubt about the bill but you're not 100% certain, you can use the structure we learned earlier. I'm not sure this is correct. The research strongly suggests that using these softeners, I'm not sure, dramatically increases the likelihood of a positive, quick resolution.
Because it respects the other person's position.
Exactly.
Huh.
This polite phrasing is a cultural tool. It avoids sounding rude, and it keeps uncomfortable moments under control. The right simple expressions and the right calm tone are essential.
Our final section shifts to the ultimate goal of fluency, the social side, making friends, breaking the ice. And the wonderful news, which should reassure every learner, is that this doesn't require complex grammar.
No, it just requires curiosity and friendliness. You don't need a perfectly constructed thesis statement to start a conversation. You just need a reliable set of short phrases that signal, I'm open to interaction and I'm friendly. Let's define small talk carefully. Things like talking about the weather, they can seem insignificant, but the sources we reviewed emphasize that in most English-speaking cultures, it's almost a daily ritual.
A necessary ritual.
It is. It serves a vital social purpose. It breaks the ice, shows friendliness, and most importantly, helps you gauge if the other person is receptive to more conversation before you dive into more serious topics.
So what are the safest topics? You have to keep it light, common ground, talking about the weather, a popular TV show, Or maybe commenting on a shared inconvenience, like the long line you're both in.
And there's that interesting quirk we found about the weather. It's noted as a friendly cultural habit, particularly in American and British contexts, even when you are safely indoors and the weather is totally irrelevant.
So why do people do it?
Because it's a non-committal, universally available, and safe way to check the social temperature before you commit to a deeper topic.
The golden rule of thumb for successful small talk, then, is to keep things light and positive. That's the secret to making it feel natural instead of awkward. You're not trying to solve world problems.
No, you're just acknowledging a shared moment. Hashtag tag 6.2 conversation starters and compliments. Time for our final vocabulary challenge. You want to start a conversation with someone new, maybe at a networking event or just standing next to them at a museum. You need a way to open the door.
Okay.
An awkward learner might ask this really formal question. With what reason do you frequent this location?
Way too much. Way too fast. So what are the simple, effective, and socially safe ways to break the ice? Give yourself a moment to brainstorm some easy, friendly questions. Gentle, slow pause for 8 seconds. The very best conversation starters are the ones that invite an easy, personal answer. They're short and direct and require minimal effort from the other person. Try simple starters like, where are you from? That's a universally accepted polite question. Or the slightly more social, do you come here often?
And when they reply, your job is just to keep the ball rolling. You can use one of our short lines from earlier or a simple one-line engagement like, that's interesting, or, oh, I love that area.
And we can't overlook the power of compliments in English-speaking cultures.
Oh, that's a great point.
The research confirms it's completely normal, even expected, to compliment strangers on something simple. This isn't deep flattery, it's just spreading good social energy. Something simple like, nice shirt, or I like your shoes, is often just used to start a positive interaction. It's an extremely useful, low-stakes tool for connection. Hashtag tag outro.
We've covered a lot of ground today, moving from navigating uncertainty to politely handling billing mistakes, all through the lens of simple, functional English.
And I hope it's illustrated that conversational excellence doesn't rely on complexity at all. As we wrap up this deep dive, take a moment to reflect. Mentally count how many of those natural expressions, the ones about agreement, ordering coffee, you correctly guessed during our challenges. We hope you discovered that the path to conversational English is much shorter and simpler than you first thought.
It really is.
The final overarching takeaway for you, the learner, is this. Combining simple, high-frequency English phrases with genuine kindness, a clear tone, and a positive attitude makes connecting with people the most enjoyable part of learning the language.
And let me leave you with one final provocative thought built on everything we've analyzed today. True fluency is not about avoiding mistakes or using the most advanced grammar you know. It's about the consistent, polite, and rapid use of simple, effective phrases that move daily interactions forward without friction. Focus on achieving clear human communication, not grammatical correctness, and you'll find that confidence follows very quickly behind.
Excellent, powerful advice. If you found this deep dive helpful and discovered some new, practical communication shortcuts, please take a moment right now to leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Let us know which real-life expressions you got right or wrong. We genuinely love hearing about your journey.
We really do.
Thank you so much for joining us for this specialized deep dive into practical, confident communication. For more knowledge shortcuts and practical fluency tips, you know where to go. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive, brought to you by Fluent Mindcast.